Okay, good morning, class. Welcome to week 4 of our distance learning. Hopefully you guys are still doing well. Not much has changed week to week so far, but I have an exciting lesson planned for you this week. Well, maybe. So how do you feel about poetry? April is National Poetry Month, so it seems like a good time to get poetic. You've been seeing these concerts on TV for these different artists, and think of yourself as a songwriter. Get those creative juices going, and you'll be writing a poem this week and turning it into me in some interesting fashion. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully you're agreeable to this. Hopefully your families and everybody is doing well. I will say once again, as I've said throughout Zooms and other meetings, people talk to me. If you're unable to do an assignment for some real, legitimate life reason, talk to me. So communicate through Remind or email or Zoom. See us at our scheduled times each week, and talk to me. Let me know what's going on. These are strange times. Yes, I want you to keep learning to some extent, but if life is more important than the learning, then you let me know and we'll take it from there. Reminder again to log into the portal every day. Every day means like now. If you're watching this and you hadn't logged into the portal, then do so. And do your attendance that way each day. This week, we're not doing Edgenuity. So we're stepping away from Edgenuity. You'll probably be relieved for that. But instead, we'll be doing a poem. You'll be writing a poem, then minimum 8 lines. Use poetic elements, literary devices, so metaphors and similes and imagery most of all. That's a real good one. I'll talk more about how to make a good poem. But the assignment is writing that poem, minimum of 8 lines, and then finding an interesting way of turning it into me. Sure, a picture of a poem on a page would be something, but the second part of your assignment is create a video, you reading it. Give me a passionate reading of your poem, your own lines. Or if you don't want to show your face, give me some images that represent. So either a slideshow of pictures around your house or that you could find anywhere. Or if you're more of the artistic hand-drawn, so draw something out. Send me a picture of your poem printed on a background or an image, something to go along with it. So let's get the visual going along with the verbal of the words. If you read it all together, be creative, add music to it. I don't know. Find an interesting way to turn it in. If all of that is beyond your capabilities, technical and artistic capabilities are not your forte and you prefer to go the route of words, your other option will be to write your poem still and then give me an analysis of your poem. So you're going to analyze what was your thought process and from what the poem is about, what themes does it explore, to individual lines. Why did you write that line in that way? What was the word choice? What was the structure choice? So what were the things that went into making it exactly the piece in the way that you wanted it to express it? And those choices, that's what you should always be thinking about as a writer, and thinking about when you read somebody else's writing, what was their thought process and what do you see in great writers that make their writing better than ordinary. So all those things are your assignment, and let's talk a little bit more about poetry and what makes for a good poem. So what makes for good poetry? I'd say a good poem starts small and builds from there. And the building are small little details, little blocks, words, individual words selected precisely for an emotion it evokes or a description of something out of the ordinary. So poems are out of the ordinary. They're not just your regular description of what you would describe to a friend on a phone call. You would visualize it, picture it, feel it, and then describe. So give yourself some time to think of something small, one event that happened, a moment in your life, an emotion that came from some little thing that happened that triggered so much more in you, and write about that so much more. So take that little thing and make it big. Go deep into the description of something small. And that's just bringing to life more detail and more thought than others would have given to that little thing. If that's not good enough advice for you, there's links down below that will give you some expert advice on how to write poems. But my advice is, think of that small little thing that others may find insignificant and make it significant with your words, with the way that you paint it. And when it comes to this assignment, you're painting along with it, whether with the images you choose to put around it or your voice that you put into it. Bring your emotion into those words, into those ideas that you've constructed about whatever it is that you wish to get off your chest. So that's the other thing is, we're in times where I hope you have had time to think about life, about yourself, about your path, about what we're not doing. What are we giving up through these weeks of being at home? Well, how do you make sense of that? Put words to it. See if the words could make sense to things that you're thinking and feeling. And, let your exploration and be adventurous with how you use those words. And I think it might come up with something that's interesting to read. So there's very few rules on what poetry must be, but it's endless of what it could be. So be creative with it. Have some fun with this assignment. And all right, I'm looking forward to see what you come up with this week. Here's a little poem I wrote too. Maybe it might not be the small thing that I'm asking of you, but it's something that I wrote in the past few days. So give it a listen, see what you think. So here's my poem. COVID 2020. The calm is the storm. The silence of the streets is the thunder. The rain falls and soon our neighbors are drenched, yet dry, sheltered in place. The lightning crashes in the flashes of Netflix and YouTube. In time, this storm too shall pass. The sun's rays will again give rise to another humid summer with sweat and tears for the time and neighbors we've lost. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy the poem that you're going to be writing, this assignment that you have for this week. Have some fun with it. Be adventurous with words and see where it gets you, and I hope I get to enjoy your products by the end of this week. Again, you have resources, a few links on my webpage and on Teams that could help you look into inspiration for writing poems. And I'd also say that reading poems might be a great source of inspiration. So if you have time at home, I'm encouraging reading all along, but for this week, why not look up a poet? Find a favorite poet that you might have. Robert Frost, Walt Whitman, Langston Hughes, good old guys. Look up somebody that might give you some fuel for thought before you start your writing, and that could help you out. Or you might just enjoy reading poetry aside from the regular text that you normally have to read. Okay, aside from all that, hope you guys are still safe, having a good enough time, and I'll see you next week.